Greetings, YouTube. Friday night, my wife and I finally got the opportunity to see the film Percy Jackson's The Lightning Thief. I have been wanting to see this film for quite a while. I just hadn't had the opportunity when it was in theaters, and I just hadn't stumbled upon a copy of the DVD until this week. Now, I've always been fascinated with Greek mythology, and this film deals heavily with Greek mythology. It pretty much bases the entire universe as we know it on Greek mythology, which is somewhat limiting, but at least in a moderately interesting way. Imagining that the gods themselves have had continued interaction with humanity all the way up to the present is at least intriguing and interesting. And a nice change of pace from the tradition of many films of this, assuming that the Judeo-Christian desert traditions are the only ones that our society is based upon. Now, I'm going to have spoilers in here, for example, so if you haven't seen the film or don't know anything about the series of books at all, you may want to stop watching this. Now, I haven't read the books, I have no intention of ever reading them, so this is purely based on the film itself. Our main character, Percy, is an odd duck, if you will. Never really fits in. He has some ADD issues. He has some dyslexia or some kind of reading issue that makes it very hard for him to perceive the words that are around him in the world. And he's very bold. He's very outspoken, and not necessarily in an angsty teen way, but it's like he's trying to find his way in the world in some ways. And as the film unfolds, you come to discover that he is the son, or a demigod, of the god Poseidon from the Greek pantheon. And the reason he has the ADD is that his nature, his impulsive nature, is from the core of his being, that he is this way because he is a hero. And his inability to read the English language easily is because he has been wired to read Greek. I thought that was interesting, but I know Greek people who are literate in both English and Greek, so I was a little confused why he couldn't know how to read both languages. I'm not quite sure why that wasn't possible, but especially seeing as he was, born and raised as an American, and he was only beginning to be affected by this when he was really in his teens, so I'm not sure. But a series of events happen. Someone steals Zeus's lightning bolt, the most powerful item that there is in the entire world, and of course it falls onto the shoulders of Percy to help find this item and return it to the gods. Now, this is a classic setup for a classic Greek adventure. The characters in this are painted with hugely broad brushes, but at least in this film it makes perfect sense. They are presented in this Greek drama manner with strong emotions, and everything is driven with, we're here, we're adventuring, and we're heroes, and everyone loves with all their heart and hates with all their heart. And at least the simplistic story elements make perfect sense. Yeah, I have a cat clawing behind my head. Make perfect sense because it's a true reflection of that Greek storytelling element, which I found at least completely appropriate for this film. And you aren't scratching your head like, wow, this is really poorly written. This is, very broadly done. It is broadly done, but it's perfectly suitable to this film that it's broadly done. So I was willing to, kind of ignore the whole thing that when Percy finally gets trained, it takes like a day and a half to get him skilled enough to go out into the world, or at least for him to go out in the world against the better judgment of his instructors. And one of them, which is Pierce Brosnan playing a centaur, which was absolutely wonderful. It just made me smile from ear to ear to see Pierce Brosnan, who I happen to really like, playing a centaur, which I thought was great. But the adventure is very linear. You go here, you do this, you go here, you do that, you go here, you do this, and then you wrap the whole thing up at the end. There's a little twist in there, because that's what you get in Greek adventures. And then, of course, the final climactic battle scene, because, again, that's what you get in Greek adventures. And it touches on the classic Greek elements. It weaves them into the real world. Uma Thurman plays the Medusa, Auntie M. We have the Lotus Eaters in Vegas, which was perfectly appropriate. We have the Parthenon in Nashville, which is wonderful. There's the gates to the underworld itself is in Hollywood. I mean, it was really well crafted. I had a good time. It isn't as great a film as I think it could have been. It seems to have fallen short of its mark. I'm not really sure why, because I think everybody really put the effort in. I couldn't quite nail it what was lacking in this. It was a fun adventure. It's PG, which was a nice change of pace. It wasn't PG-13. It wasn't G-rated. So there is a few adventurous things. There was nothing totally scary. A little bit of gore, but it's on a monster, so you know, you're like, monsters, people can tolerate monsters getting beat up. And they really had a deft hand with the implied sexuality of a satyr, Grover. I thought that was very well done, because, you know, satyrs are the personification of masculinity, and yet they were able to present that in a PG level manner that I thought was acceptable and humorous. So I was quite pleased to see that. It wasn't done in a heavy, broad manner. That particular element was done deftly. So I loved this film. I thought it was a lot of fun. Is it the favorite film I've seen in the last year? No, it's not. But it was a good time, and I can see myself watching this again at some point in the future. And it was a nice way of introducing Greek mythology to a younger audience, with them not even potentially knowing that they're being introduced to some of the classic Greek mythology elements. So yeah, if you like Greek mythology and you like PG style adventures, I would definitely recommend this film.